Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you my best drill to make more putts. All right guys, so let's talk a little bit about putting in today's video. What I want to show you is the best drill that I know to make more putts. And what the drill really is it's a combination of all the skills you need to make more putts. Let's briefly go over that first before we dive into how to set this up and do this. For putting in general, how do you get better at putting? Well, there's three main skills to get better at putting. The first one, and to me the most important in terms of making putts, is start line control. That is, can you start the ball over the intended line you have? Can you get the ball started on line? Yes or no is number one. Number two is speed control. Can you hit a ball from point A to point B? And can you have the ball going into the hole at a certain speed? And then the third one is green reading, right? Now you can make an argument that those should be in a different order, but either way, it's still those three things. Start the ball on line, control your speed better, and green reading, okay, and matching those. And in terms of making more shorter putts, you have to be good at all of them. Not one of them, you gotta be good at all of them. So what we have here, I'm gonna show you the setup to this station. This is one that I use, and I've seen a lot of other good players use, and you will have seen a lot of good players use. I just saw them doing a little thing on the Golf Channel with Tommy Fleetwood was using this exact thing, and I didn't by any means make this up. This is just something that I've seen and we use. So here's the deal here. I have a set of tees for my putter, which I'll show you about. I've got a set of tees in front of me for the start line, and then I have a set of tees for the green reading. Okay, so how does this work? Well, first things first, I would typically do this drill with a player from 3 or 4 feet to start with. I find a left to right putt, which we have here, and I'll find a right to left putt, and we'll do this from 3 to 4 feet to start with. We'll also typically do this at about 8 feet, and then I'll do it at about 15 feet. So I might do 3 different distances for this as part of the practice. Now, how we set this up, you've all seen a sort of normal gate drill. I would put my putter down, and I put 2 tees just wider than my putter. So just outside the toe here, and just inside the heel there. Now, depending upon your skill level, you can get them a little bit closer together. You can have them go a little bit farther apart, but it's roughly about a little bit wider than the putter you're using. Now, the next set of tees that I have is for the start line. Okay, so I have 2 tees here that are just wider than the golf ball. So I put a ball in there. I have 2 tees that are just wider than that. I'd probably keep that about the same. The same principle applies depending upon skill level. You can make it a little closer, a little farther away. This is about as close as I would go, maybe just a little bit less than a finger width on either side. Okay, now I put that probably a foot to 18 inches in front of my putter gate. Could you have it closer or farther away? You could. Okay, I put it about a foot to a foot and a half. To me, relative to the speed you're gonna hit, that guarantees good start line control. And then my last tee is for the aim. So I would put this even with the middle of the hole, either to the left or to the right, depending upon how much break that I think. So for this particular putt, I set this up for the sake of the video. I probably have this about 1 putter width, maybe 2 inches, just less than a full cup outside the left for a medium pace. Okay, now there's variations to this we could talk about, but let's just do the stock model. Now, when I set this up, I just walk on a green. I pick a putt that has a good amount of left to right break, and I set my putter up first with the tees with the gate. Okay, so this is part number 1. I go like this, I set them in. Now, the second part that I do is I'll walk out and I pick the green read first. So I don't set up the start line yet because I don't know where the heck I'm going. I pick the green read, okay? So for me, I walked up, and it's always gonna be a guess in the beginning unless you're using aim point, and I put this here, that's where I think it should go. Now I have those 2 pieces in. The last part to do is a little start line gate. So what I do is I'll put my ball in here, and I'll take a club. You can use an aim stick or anything like that. And I use this to find my start line. So I'll pop this down and get out of the way so you can see it. So what I do is I just put a club in a straight line between my golf ball and my aim point. And you can see that that club cuts the tees in half, right? So that's how I know where to put my start line. Because when I walk over that, I'll tell you, that doesn't look right to my eyes. I don't do this drill at all because I don't practice nearly enough of my putting, if I'm being honest. But if you're doing this steadily, and students that I work with, right, you'll get used to that with your eye line, and you should be doing this so your eyes see straight lines. So I put the club down to ensure it's on a line, even if it doesn't look right. That's how I do. I think that's pretty straightforward. Putter, start line, pick your spot. Now, I might run through this, and if my tee's in the wrong, so you gotta test it. If my tee's in the wrong spot, then you gotta move it, right? You gotta move this over and move this over until you find a spot. So you gotta test it. So I have 4 golf balls here. No rhyme or reason behind that. I usually like to do things in 3 or 5 ball sets. This is just sort of observing and learning. This isn't one necessarily I'm gonna do and keep a score of, keep a count. Could you do that? You could, but for this phase, I'm trying to do all the skills at once. What am I trying to do skill-wise? Well, we said the first thing was start line. So for my start line to be good, what do I need? Well, do I need a perfect putter path to start the ball in a perfect line? No, I do not. I could swing outside in, I could swing inside out and still get the club face at the moment of impact aligned correctly and get the golf ball started. So I don't care if it goes outside in, inside, whatever, as long as you can repeat it. Okay, would I prefer a more neutral path? Well, sure, but I don't really care as long as you can get the ball started on line over and over. So that's what these are 2 here are for. If I get through the gates, I started it pretty good online, right? I'm pretty good at that. This is for my green reading and my speed control, right? So how do you get better at green reading, which is a video in and of itself? Either you study something like aim point, which is very good. Okay, I haven't spent the time to go through, I've done a couple classes, but not as thoroughly as a lot of guys. That's very good. Aim point is highly recommended. Or you get on a green, you pick a putt, you put a tee in the ground where you think the read is, and then you monitor results and adjust. Okay, that's groundbreaking, but no one does it, right? It's simple, it's just kind of tedious, not a lot of people do it, but how would you get better at green reading? You put a tee in the ground and you test it, that's how I do it. So anyway, we'll roll through this and I'll kind of talk my way through. Again, I would just do this first, just to test it. So I got my ball in the middle, I'm gonna try and hit it through those little gates at that tee, trying to get the ball to roll into the hole. There, I made that one in the middle, that was cool. And again, now I'm doing this at about neutral speed. Neutral speed to me means the ball, if it doesn't go in, is probably gonna go about a foot, maybe a little less than a foot, maybe a little bit more than a foot past the hole. So if I were doing this at a different speed, then obviously my green reading would have to be different. Now I cheated because I tested this before the video went on. Okay, I made all the putts, so cool, my start line's good enough, my green reading. Now I will say that's where I put the tee first. I didn't have to move it, and that's fine because I can do this enough. If you got to move it a couple times, then move it until you find it. So I would do this. Now, an advanced version of this, I would say, okay, cool. This tee is in at a medium pace. Now, if you're kind of breaking 80, you're shooting around par, or you're an elite level putter, I'd say, well, now let's also do this drill where you need to find a solution to a slower pace and a faster pace, right? So I'd pop those start lines out. I'd take this tee and say, what, a slower pace, do I need to play more break or less break? I need to play more break at a slower pace. So I might say, well, here was my medium, right? How far outside do I think I can go and still make the putt? Well, I think I can go to about here. And then I move those, I move that, I go to here and I test it. And I hit a couple and see, can I get the ball to go in the hole aiming this far out? Can I die the ball in? You might be surprised at how far out you can go and still make a putt. There's a lot of learning that you can get from this. And then I would do the opposite. Okay, here's my medium. How close could I aim and hit the ball hard enough and still make the ball go in the hole, right? Well, okay, I'll move those, I'll test it here, hit it as far as I can. Ball will be going 2 to 3 feet past the hole probably. I gotta probably make all those right in the middle of the hole, but I could do that and I could test it. That would be more advanced. But this would be the drill you would do as a stock. You'd find one medium spot, you're practicing your start line, you're practicing your path, you're practicing your green reading all in one. Do it from a left to right. We're gonna move over and do it from a right to left. And then again, when you get good at that, move back to 8 feet, move back to 15, add variations. This would be the part of your practice you do after your block practice with your gate drill. We've done videos on that. You guys should be starting every putting practice with a gate drill, something to practice start line. Don't care what it is, training aid, whatever, something to practice start line. Then you would go into something like this, make some short distance stuff. Then you do your speed control, your 2-putting, so on and so forth. So we'll flip over, we'll do the right to left putt, and then we'll continue on. All right, guys, so we just flipped sides here. We're on the right to left putt. Like I mentioned from before, find a 3 to 4 footer left to right, and then find a right to left one. I found a pretty little slippery side hill one. This is good, right? Find maybe a pretty simple one to start with, but then challenge your skills with it. Go to the putts that you have a difficult time with on the course. Put the tees in, take time to find feels that work. These are drills that the feels that you have here will work the same thing you have on the course. So I've got 4 golf balls. I'll run through this. I preset this before we started to what I think is a pretty good line. So let's go ahead and try one of these. And again, if I'm missing high or low, like for this one's a good example. I set this up and I have the tee too high up here to the right. And so I missed a bunch of the putts high from the hole, and I even missed one to the left. As we go, we'll film some of that so you guys can go see. I just want you guys to get the drill in this one. And then I moved it, right? I moved it, I tested it, and now I'm sort of retesting it in front of you guys. So you're gonna set this up incorrect, right? Often, and then you're gonna have to move it. That's perfectly fine. That's part of the learning that I want you guys to get here. So this, in theory, should be pretty close to where it's supposed to be. Again, I'm doing this at what I perceive to be a medium pace speed where the golf ball would go about a foot, like I said, maybe 8 inches, 12, 16 inches past the hole. And I find a solution for it. And again, the only rules here are that you're able to get your putter through these gates and get the ball through here. If you're able to do that repeatedly, the proof is going to be in the pudding. Obviously, the balls either go in the hole or they don't. But when you go play, you can't control the ball going into the hole or not. You cannot. Sometimes you're going to hit good putts and you just misread it. So, you know, your goal with putting is to hit the ball in the middle of the face or close to it, get the ball started on line with good speed. That's it. What this is about is improving your skills so that the odds of the ball going in the hole when you do that, when you go play, increase. Okay, that's the whole point of this. So like I said, 3 skills. This is practicing all of them. Do it from left to right and right to left. Could you do right to left first and then left to right second? That's fine. Doesn't matter. Find an easy one, make it more difficult. Do it from 3 to 4 feet. Do it again from 8 feet, do it 15 feet. If you guys are practicing putting, I would do this as often as possible. You know, Mary and I were talking a little bit ago about Jason Day. They came out, someone said he was practicing like 15 hours a week of just putting. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I was told, 15, maybe some more. That's craziness to me, right? Even when I was really playing a lot, I admittedly didn't practice a lot of putting, maybe an hour a week, and I did pretty good when I did it, you know, 20 minutes a day. I couldn't imagine 3 hours. The point being, he's great at putting. He spends way more time than you and I do. For you to be great at putting or even better, you got to do something different. Part of that is not only practicing more. Some of you can't practice more. You have families in real life. So what can you do? Well, in the 15 or 20 minutes you might putt, you can be more efficient with your time. Make sure you're actually getting better at one of those 3 skills. If you're putting and it's not improving your start line, speed control, or green reading, you're essentially just exercising. Okay, so one way to do all 3 of them, incorporate this in part of your regular practice. Make sure you're doing something before this for just start line. Make sure you're doing something afterwards for just speed and 2-putt ability. We'll do some more short game stuff as we go. Wanted you guys to get this drill. As always, if you guys have any questions, leave me a comment down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, click the like button down below. Click the notification bell if you haven't, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.